Hi all, and welcome to our webinar, The Value of SAP Business Data Cloud. Thanks for joining. This session will be recorded and you will get the slides and the recording in the next few days. If you have questions, feel free to use the chat. I will hand directly over to Jonathan and Patrick, our speakers today.
Yes, hello everyone. Warm welcome as well from our side. My name is Jonathan and I'm here today with Patrick, and together we want to describe to you what SAP Business Data Cloud is and how it can be used, especially in the context of AI scenarios in the general SAP ecosystem. I myself, I am a senior data scientist at Sovanta. I'm working here since 3 years, and Patrick, you. You're still muted, sorry.
Yes, now it should work. Hi, I'm Patrick Preisner, process automation consultant at Sovanta, so also part of the data science team as a broad, and working on analytics, automation tasks, working at Sovanta for almost 6 years now.
Yeah, so with that in mind, we would give a very quick overview of Sovanta. I'm not sure how much you know about us in general. We were founded with the goal to simplify business software, right? To make it easy for the user to navigate software and to actually get the value from the software that they require, and not something that looks fancy and was designed this way. So with that, like a central point is the human-centered design, speaking to the customers and to the end users and figuring out what they actually need. We are doing that since many years, and mainly on the SAP BTP, so the business technology platform, as the technology where we are really the experts, in total 250 plus experts across 8 locations worldwide. And with that, we also, of course, have lots of experience in the context of machine learning and AI. As we said, Patrick and myself, we are both from our data science team and have worked for many years in use cases about AI. In today's webinar, we want to talk about SAP Business Data Cloud. The title was, what is the value of SAP Business Data Cloud? This product has been available since a few months now, and we want to show what does it actually bring to the table. What are the new components of this software? Is it just a combination of existing products, or does it actually deliver something new? And with that, we also want to set focus on the AI capabilities that SAP Business Data Cloud offers. How can it be integrated, or what kind of use cases can in the context of AI and machine learning, can you do with SAP Business Data Cloud that maybe were not possible before with SAP BTP services and technologies, or that are now much simpler with that. So in general, we want to give general overview of SAP Business Data Cloud to just give an introduction of that, then talk about the key components that were added, but also that are just part of BDC. We also brought a use case example where we already combined different technologies of SAP Business Data Cloud to kind of show the end-to-end workflow of that product. And in the end, also talk a bit about pricing of BDC and what could be your next steps when you want to start your BDC journey with us. Yeah, so SAP Business Data Cloud, to kind of quote SAP marketing, it's a data platform that harmonizes all data from SAP and non-SAP sources. And it brings those into a unified semantic layer of trusted data to power advanced analytics and AI. Okay, so this is the marketing sentence. The key components are that it integrates to all SAP line of business solutions, but also non-SAP solutions. And it gathers data from those sources and harmonizes it. So it's not, it's like one unified layer of data. If you are having like the same business data object in, let's say, an S4 system and in SuccessFactors, but maybe like they are named slightly different. With BDC, they are now coherent in one naming, one domain model and naming. And also it brings the business context of that data. So when you then want to do analysis, you know what is the context of this data, how should it interact with other business data. So that allows you actually to build advanced analytics capabilities that go not just on like one SAP solution, but that go across the portfolio of all the SAP applications that you are using. So it works as a data foundation with the main goal to provide high quality data, and of course to make that data available across the organization. So not just in silos, but to have like really one foundation that works across everything. With that, it is a combination of already existing services such as SAP Analytics Cloud and also SAP Datasphere, but it also brings new components, namely, for example, the SAP data products, and also then, of course, SAP Databricks, which was announced. So the cooperation between SAP and Databricks, which are like a leading provider of data analysis platforms. In general, Business Data Cloud can be then used to cover all kinds of different use cases. So on the one hand side, it can be used for data warehousing, because also SAP BW is one of the components of Business Data Cloud, or can work as a data source for Business Data Cloud. You can cover all your use cases that are regarded to planning and business intelligence, also the topics of data governance and compliance, and of course, development of intelligent applications. So applications that use this data to provide you with additional insights. And of course, it also offers the support to develop AI and machine learning models that can be then used in those applications. What is new with that is that SAP manages the full life cycle of a lot of these components. Starting, for example, with the SAP data products. SAP is responsible for sourcing the data from your connected solutions provided to you in this harmonized way. And then also, if you want to use intelligent applications, it's really just like a one-click install to get all the components that are needed to use this application. So in that sense, it's different from previously like solutions where SAP had maybe like a store where you could install individual solutions, because now it's really, if you want to install it, it's a full way through, and you don't need to configure anything additional. Of course, you can do all kinds of custom ways. We will also show that later. Yeah, with that, I mentioned a lot of the different components, and that would also be then the first topic that we want to go through to explain some of these components in more detail, so that you have an overview what's maybe new with those, what are like the key highlights on how these can be used. And with that, I would hand over to you, Patrick.
Yeah, thanks. So let's start with the data products, and in a little bit more detail what you can understand what a data product is, how the ecosystem around data product looks like, and how you can bring your own data to the table. So in general, out of the box, SAP provides managed data products that are brought to you via an intelligent application, which we'll go through in a couple of minutes, and data packages. Both of them you can install when you have the underlying system. So let's say you have SuccessFactors running and you want to have the data package assigned to it. You click on install, you got all the data products provided by SAP, managed by SAP, with coherent semantics for those data products. Those data products are then copied and to your data store on the BDC and managed by SAP. So updates are also managed by SAP when new versions of those data products come out and so on. The current list within the Business Accelerator Hub of data products, so data packages and intelligence applications, is already quite huge, but it is very rapidly growing. So while you can do some custom managed data products, which I will talk about in a second, you can also figure out what kind of data products are already available to you, or maybe look in a couple of weeks, because this list is really fastly growing. Those data products, as already mentioned by Jonathan, is a coherent layer that should provide data that is frequently reused among multiple applications towards those other systems. So provide something like your master data, provide something like your KPIs towards AI tools, towards analytical tools, and your intelligent applications without replicating the data in each and every step. So the right side you see on this image, this is the bidirectional zero copy delta share, where you can provide, you consume the data provided by the data products within those other Business Data Cloud applications. When you want to bring your own data to the table, this is also either possible when you have use case specific data in Datasphere, but also if you have more general data that you will be using among different use cases as custom managed data products, where you need to follow the open resource discovery format. This is so that the semantics of your data is also included, and that you have also coherent data, not defined it multiple times with slightly different definitions, but rather have one source of truth that is defined and well-defined and can be consumed within other apps. Talking about Datasphere, just a quick recap. What is Datasphere in a nutshell? So it's the successor of the Data Warehouse Cloud. Here it is just another data warehouse, but it can do a lot of very cool things. It is offered as a platform as a service on the BTP, and beneath Datasphere, there is a HANA cloud database where all the data is stored upon and provided to all other systems that integrate within Datasphere as a live data source. So it's shared via Delta Lake. And as said, it is very well integrated to other SAP systems, but can also consume and provide data to non-SAP systems. So it is to be the centralized access point to your SAP, non-SAP data for analysis, for machine learning. And it is also very cool that it is geared towards less technical users. So not only pro code developers can look into the data, but also citizen developers can get the data, look into the tables, maybe see, generate also insights there, or understand the data sources that they work with. So it provides quick data discovery features. As I mentioned, you can open up tables, you can filter data, you can aggregate data for quick data discovery. You can create here very fine-grained data controls and governance. So Datasphere is the point where you should include data governance features, something like what kind of columns, rows should be viewed by a specific user in, let's say, the Analytics Cloud. What kind of information should they be able to consume? What kind of information should be provided there? It also allows for a couple of automations for parse the data, to integrate the data, and to expose the data to third parties. What are anti-use cases? So where you shouldn't use Datasphere mainly is when it comes to AI development. So while you can do a wide range of transformation, data enhancement, enrichment, when it comes to more fine-grained code, more pro-code use cases, where you maybe want to create some machine learning models to analyze the data upon, then you should rather use Databricks, which we'll talk about in a second. Also, data visualization and dashboarding. While you can use Datasphere for quick data discovery and data access, when it comes to visualizing the data, provide those visualizations to your team, then SAC is, so the Analytics Cloud is a tool of choice. Speaking of the Analytics Cloud, also here a recap, what does Analytics Cloud offers to you? So on the top right corner, the augmented analytics. This is also provided in the Analytics Cloud, while you can use other tools to do some machine learning on your data that you're consuming. You can already use built-in functions within SAC to generate quick insights. Maybe if you're working on a small use case or are in a very early stage of your project, those insights are very quickly generated, and you can already see maybe what kind of clusters forms in your data, or what kind of future expenses should I expect. The two main features of the Analytics Cloud is business intelligence and enterprise planning. So within business intelligence, this is the platform to create actionable insights. So the main goal of the Analytics Cloud is to be the platform that consumes data aggregated throughout your company and provided to you within a story that can be also interacted with the users. To really understand your data, uncover insights, or maybe just monitor what is happening within your company. And enterprise planning, this is then the second most important feature. This is where you can plan upon your data. So the typical planning cycle goes that you analyze your data, you plan maybe your next period or your next store that should be opened, and you do some predictions. So those three tools are already offered in the SAC, while you can also bring in new data, something like predictions that are provided by a third-party machine learning model can be also brought into the Analytics Cloud. And within this planning tool, you are very free in how you want to interact with the data, how you want to plan. Maybe you want to plan on the very smallest cell, so maybe on a customer, on an employee, on a store level, but maybe you only want to plan on a region and get the data tackled down towards the specific stores you have. So here SAC provides multiple tools to allow you to analyze and plan your data the way you want. So this is the enterprise platform service, where you can work on those insights, those planning scenarios with other users, share it with other users as business output, and really utilize it for actionable insights. Next up, Databricks. Here, Jonathan, I will hand over to you.
Yeah, exactly. So the components that Patrick just showed, SAP Datasphere and SAP Analytics Cloud, those are already available since a few years, right? So you can use them. Maybe you already have them as a solution. Now, one of the new components that is offered with BDC is Databricks, or more specifically SAP Databricks. So it's really a cooperation between both companies, so that there is now like a reduced set of functionalities of the full Databricks product. Well, it is reduced, but it's like a very suitable set of functionalities that is available commercially as what they are calling then SAP Databricks. And here, as an introduction, so in general, Databricks is let's say then a runtime for pro code, data transformations, and also all kinds of machine learning and AI capabilities. So you really have the option of creating notebooks that are then based on Python and using PySpark, or like also SQL. Interact with your data through queries, also then on really like geared towards you doing big data analysis. So like large queries that still have to be performant. Also collaborate on these notebooks together. So it's very easy to just work with several people on the same notebook, execute the code, and also edit the code itself. So this is like Databricks in general. Then more specifically with SAP Databricks, it of course now offers like zero copy access to the data that is in Datasphere. So what they're using there is this delta share principle. And that means that you have like really simple access to all the data that is already in Datasphere, which means like all the data that is in BDC as well. So you can consume those data products that Patrick introduced. And then in Databricks, while doing your transformations or maybe enhancing those with machine learning predictions, you can then produce new data products that you write back to your connected Datasphere tenant. Another option or like another capability that Databricks offers is then so-called ML Flow, which you can use to track the performance of your different AI models that you train. So you can run experiments, try out different hyperparameters, and then kind of find which model works best with the data that you have, and use that to doing then the batch inference that you can write back to Datasphere. So if we compare that with the existing options, how you can do AI or how you can run machine learning models on BTP, so what is already available today, there we should first introduce Kyma or Cloud Foundry runtime, and of course the AI core, which is like the central way on how you can do heavy lifting machine learning models and inference. Not sure if everyone is aware what those components are, so I will explain those anyways. Cloud Foundry or Kyma is like the central runtime on BTP where you can deploy your business applications that in general do anything custom. Also like the technologies, what exactly you can deploy is quite arbitrary, and basically everything is possible. You can access data if in the context of SAP BDC, then through technical users that would access the data in Datasphere directly. So it's not like a native access. You have to build it as part of your application. But in general, you can just deploy any kind of business application. And then also in the like limits of memory that is available in disk space, you can also run small to moderate AI models, even train them and or also use them for inference. So getting predictions from those models. AI core itself is then much more capable. So you can again run any Docker image that you just need to deploy to the AI core. The access to data is kind of similar between Cloud Foundry and AI core, but you also have the option of GPUs available, so you can do more compute-intensive AI models. And also AI core offers the SAP Gen AI Hub, which you can use to access SAP and also partner-hosted large language models, basically all the ones that are currently available. Then more on the side of SAP Business Data Cloud, if you want to talk about AI on that level, as Patrick said, you can use SAP Datasphere, but this is more on the level of combining the data from the various sources, centralizing it, applying the transformations, and of course also providing data access control. But you don't really have an option to write custom code, so any AI or complex code is not possible there. Then the components that he mentioned, Analytics Cloud, this is then more for visualizing and planning the data. What Business Data Cloud now offers with SAP Databricks is like the missing link between those two, which is now a pro code platform where you can do all kinds of data transformations. And also within the compute that is available, you can do light AI capabilities. So like any machine learning model that is just doing classification and forecasting, like time series forecasting, that is possible. Anything that goes more in the direction of neural networks and which require GPUs, this is maybe then too much for it, but kind of 80 to 90% of all the machine learning models that you would need would be possible with SAP Databricks. And of course, as we mentioned, you have the access to the Datasphere data directly. Then, more in detail, if we directly compare AI Core and SAP Databricks, just to state some of the facts again that we mentioned, right? So on SAP Databricks side, you have access to the Databricks serverless functions that are offered, which means they are limited to a maximum of 8 GB of memory, and you also don't have any GPUs available. In comparison to the AI Core, where you can either use a T4 or like V100 GPUs, and in total you have 116 GB of memory available, so you really can train compute-intensive machine learning models on there. In SAP Databricks, also when you install different dependencies, this is possible via pip install, and then you directly install them into your notebook. And if you do data transformation or machine learning predictions, those are usually done in batch fashion. So meaning you fetch a certain amount of data, you apply the transformation and the machine learning predictions to that, and then you write back this data as a new data product to BDC. It's not like that you can call this model to do live inference from an intelligent app. You say, well, I entered this new value, please provide me that. It's more like that it's run in a scheduled way, which also means that it's just on demand that that your notebook is started and it doesn't run all the time. You also have access to large language models via SAP Databricks, via a component called Mosaic AI. So you can use that to also do Gen AI use cases within the SAP Databricks, not just the traditional machine learning. And on the other side, SAP AI Core, as we said, has has also access to lots of large language models via the Gen AI Hub. And you can use the AI Core to do batch inference as well, but also you can host your machine learning model in a way that is capable of doing live inference. So basically, whenever you call the model, you would directly receive back the prediction results. Yeah, so bringing all of those topics together, we can ask and answer the question whether SAP BDC can be seen as a game changer for doing AI in the context of SAP. Because it offers, with SAP Databricks and also the combination of data products and the other components, really a lot of key components and capabilities that were not directly possible without BDC. To start, it would be that you kind of have a direct access to SAP data because SAP is providing these managed data products. You can really use those directly, and you don't need to kind of care about the data connection as you would do in AI Core or Cloud Foundry. It also brings together SAP and non-SAP data in Databricks via data catalog. So you really have access to all the data and not just the components that you connect to. What I mentioned before with on-demand compute. So it's possible to only run the machine learning models and in that way also pay for the compute that is needed when you run this batch inference. This is compared to Cloud Foundry or AI Core, where you deploy the application, so then it runs 24/7, and you also have to pay for the consumption of memory and so on. Data products, as you mentioned in the beginning, are really a very important point because they offer a coherent description of the available data, which means that they bring the business context directly to the data scientists that are working with the data. Right before, you would maybe have access to the tables and you could read those and you would know what kind of columns are available, but you don't really know how this data interacts with one another, what the values mean, what is possible with the data, and whether it's of high quality or not. And all of that is covered with data products. So it really helps to deliver direct business context in the use of AI models. Also, the topics of native notebooks and collaboration is new and quite welcoming for us as data scientists. So we have like a native option to collaborate with one another in this notebook-like structure. So we have the analysis directly available, and we can model different machine learning models and kind of work side by side on those topics. Yeah, and as a last point, which is basically the same as the first point, right? It's a direct result upload because we can directly share back all results of the machine learning predictions or data transformations as a data product to SAP Datasphere and thus the BDC. And it's not that we, again, need to have a database connection where we are then responsible for creating new tables and then writing the data back. So it's really a direct comparison. So as a summary for that part, there are really a lot of components that, a lot of key capabilities that are available with SAP Business Data Cloud in the context of doing AI and machine learning with SAP data. And of course, one other like key point that comes with SAP Business Data Cloud is then the intelligent applications that we would cover next. Because the intelligent applications, in the beginning, they will all be released by SAP, and then later on, there will also be solutions available by partners. And the main idea is that they are really built from start to end and include everything like pre-built. And that means that for you as a user of these intelligent applications, it's really just a one-click install to get everything running. So if you want to have this working capital insights intelligent application, then it's really just a matter of going to the cockpit of a Business Data Cloud, selecting this application, clicking on install, and then you will get the corresponding data products that will be provided. The content in Datasphere will be created, so all the views and transformations that are necessary to calculate the KPIs that are part of this intelligent application. And it will also contain the SAC story that is shown in the bottom screenshot. So kind of the dashboard that the users will interact with this intelligent application again. And the full lifecycle is SAP managed. New versions will be rolled out, and it's really very simple to get running. And then of course, like it's a trade-off, right? To do that, those are geared towards generic use cases that are meant to benefit like a wide variety of customers, right? Of course, these intelligent applications that are rolled out, they will not contain your custom data products from the start, but it is also possible to do that. You can basically copy all the components that were created and then add additionally all custom fields that are relevant for you, and thus modify the intelligent application to fit to your needs. The intelligent applications themselves, they can come or like interact with end users in different ways. What you will see in the beginning of BDC a lot, and what is also shown here in the screenshot, are SAC stories. So like the analytical dashboards with which users are interacting. But it will also be possible to really have CAP-based applications as intelligent applications, meaning just any custom business application that you want to deploy. An example would be the sustainability control tower that is also a product of SAP. And this is already available standalone, but now it will transition also to be an intelligent application, meaning that it's directly connected to the corresponding data products and receiving data from those. And as a third option, intelligent applications can also come in the form of search-driven AI applications. So interacting basically with AI agents or co-pilots, asking them questions about your data, and then getting the results also in visual cards, for example, with Just Ask, as an example. Yeah, so that was like the overview of the different components that come with SAP Business Data Cloud, and kind of what they bring as new capabilities to the table, and how we think about those. What we would show next is a real-world use case that Patrick was introduced, where we are kind of using the different components and explaining again like how they interact with each other.
All right, so let's go to the real-world use case. So here in this use case, we are utilizing most of the capabilities of the Business Data Cloud. So we want to introduce how a data product can be included in a use case, how Datasphere can process your data, transform your data, make sure that the data quality is adhered, Databricks for additional data transformation and data quality checks, and the Analytics Cloud as the final results, analyzing or processing the data that was cleaned up in the steps before. Here we are dealing with two sorts of data. So on the one side, we are bringing in some master data provided by the data products, where we know exactly, okay, here all the data is correct, and we don't need really to check here a lot of stuff. But the second kind of data we are introducing is data from a third-party system that is quite error-prone. So in this use case, we are presenting a CO2 emission data set where car drives within a company from location A to location B are analyzed, and it is to be analyzed how much CO2 emissions are generated throughout the year. And while the data products provided by SAP are clean and already trusted, the third-party tool that is imported in Datasphere needs to be cleaned up before it can be shown within the Analytics Cloud. So as mentioned before, the data product we are using here are the company codes provided by SAP. So we just need to make sure that this data product is installed, running on our system. And with that, we already know exactly what kind of semantics. So not only company code, but the company name is provided with that, where the company is located at, and so on, are already provided within this data product. And this one can be already consumed within Datasphere. The second kind of data is then imported within Datasphere. Rather than creating here a manual data product, we are working right now with use case specific data that is not really worth the effort, because it's really use case specific, only used in this use case. So it's imported within a space in Datasphere and transformed and prepped in here. So in here, what you can see in the third from top local tables, here those additional tables are imported. So the emissions, so the car drives, what cars do we have in our fleet? What locations are, what locations can those drives be located at? And in the very first folder, those are all the harmonization steps. So bringing all the different tables from our third-party tool and from the data product together to enhance the semantics. As mentioned before, the semantics is one of the key components of those data products. So within the data product that was already included, there we have already all the semantics. But importing the data from a third-party tool, then we need to enhance those data, to link everything together so that the Analytics Cloud, can understand what is really happening. And the result of everything is what you see at the very bottom. So the drives with emission analytical model. This single analytical model contains all the information necessary to build a story within the Analytical Cloud to provide the data that can be then analyzed by a business analyst. To make sure that the third-party data that we are including adheres to our data standard, we did multiple steps here. So first, after you imported your data, you can also apply some data validation rules. So making some very broad assumptions like a drive cannot be longer than 5,000 kilometers or something like that. So you can already make some rules, maybe that some fields should not be blank and so on. So when importing data, you already have some first data quality gate to make sure some very simple checks are made and that the data has some initial quality before starting working with it. The second step we did here, we knew exactly that the drives that were entered in the manual tool have a lot of, they are very error prone because the drive location are manually entered and maybe you are misspelling the city you started your location from. And so on the bottom, what you can see in this intelligent lookup here, we have our ground truth. Those are the locations where we know exactly, okay, those are existent. Those are the valid locations the drivers can start their drive. And on the top, we have those manually collected data. And in the intelligent lookup, we can do a mapping in multiple steps, relaxing the rules from step to step. So in the first step, we have some direct matching. Do you wrote the city location, the company location correctly? yes, 73% of the data is already matched and provided with this green arrow to the output. 27% are still unmatched. Maybe some misspellings are in there. Maybe someone abbreviated something, or multiple matches are found. So within the next two steps, we created some fuzzy matching. So maybe only 20% of the strings needs to match. And with those two steps, we ended up with only 3% of data not matched after those three steps. And that needs manual look into the data. So within those intelligent lookups, you can then dig into the data, dig into the instances where still the data was not matched, and decide either you want to ignore those cases, or maybe you want to create some manual rules on top of this fuzzy matching that will get applied each time. So maybe there is a valid abbreviation that gets not matched in here, but you want to have this mapping known to the system. So those kinds of mapping can be created on top of this normal transformation within Datasphere, to ensure that the data quality is really here, at a level that you want to work with the data. When it comes to more intense use cases, how you want to find out outliers in your data, there we introduced this use case in Databricks. So in the harmonization step, we created a model that already combined the drives, the distances, the CO2 emission, and before providing it to the into an analytical model to be consumed in the analytical cloud, we introduced this data to Databricks. In here, we used isolation forest to define if there are any outliers. Maybe the user did something like book a ride twice. So by an incident, he clicked on booking twice, and then we have it logged twice in the system. And the data quality looks okay because the locations are valid. The locations are also matched within this fuzzy matching. But it is an anomaly that a ride at the very same time from the very same location to the very same end location is occurred. And those more intense data analysis, data quality checks, clusterings, all of that can be done within Databricks, within this ProCode tool that allows for very easy and very powerful transformations of your data. Maybe you want to calculate some features out of your existing data that requires quite a lot of computation, something like clusters you want to name, customer clusters, and so on. All of this can be done in Databricks and played back directly into the Datasphere space that you can then use to create an analytical model. So all of that provides us this analytical model with all of the context, with all of the two worlds combining together. So master data and third-party data that got cleaned up in the steps before to end up in this analytical insight app. So this one was custom made. We just show what kind of emissions occurred in the current year, what's the delta to the previous year, at which location everything occurs. And you can provide those stories then with filters the way you want to the end user so that they can work with trustworthy data, do their analysis, monitor data, and So here you can already see all the features that Business Data Cloud provides and this end-to-end tools that they provide to load the data, transform the data, make sure that the quality is there, calculate new features, analyze it, plan on it. So it's really a very great tool for data scientists to do their work end-to-end, especially in the context of SAP. Next up, pricing and best practices. Jonathan, this one I will hand over to you.
So coming now to the end, I just want to have a quick word around about the pricing of the BDC components. I hope I can explain it in a easy to understand way. BDC is commercially divided into two parts, basically. On the one hand side, it's the Business Data Cloud core components. So this includes Datasphere, SRC, Databricks, also BW, but this has to be sized separately. And those can be bought via the so-called capacity units. So basically you buy a certain amount of capacity units and then you can freely distribute those between the different service components. How much each service uses of these capacity units depends then on the specific service. So as an example, SAC scales with the number of business users that access the product. And for example, 25 business intelligence users would correspond to 640 of these capacity units. On the other hand, Datasphere and also Databricks, they are scaling more with like the amount of memory and runtime hours that you need. And those are like the cost driving factors for those. On the other hand, what you also need to buy if you want to have SAP Business Data Cloud, in addition to the core functionalities, you need to have at least one intelligent application installed, or you buy this package of custom data products that you just build your own applications. If you do that, then this is like a minimum of 1,000 capacity units that you can then distribute to any of the core services. If you buy any of the intelligent applications, then those need to be scaled according to your metric that you have in the corresponding SAP application. So like how many users are interacting with that SAP applications, that needs to be mapped to the size of the intelligent application. In general, whenever you then install or license an intelligent application, that will then also provide you with all the data products that are relevant for that. So if you have the systems connected and you license the working capital inside intelligent application, then you get access to all the data products that are required for that intelligent application and can also use those then for your own custom applications that you want to build. So in general, you have these capacity units that you can freely distribute. There is like a minimum requirement that you need, but if you scale it for like a productive usage, then you will also you will usually go way beyond these minimum size limitations. Yeah, the next slide I would skip, Patrick, and I can directly come to the Sovanta offerings. So to wrap up our webinar, basically, what are the next steps that you can do with SAP Business Data Cloud, and how can we help you on this journey? So we have several offerings around all the topics of SAP BDC. One that is maybe like an ideal starting point is the SAP Business Data Cloud Discovery Workshop. In that workshop format, I will also show it, or maybe Patrick, we can directly skip to the next slide and I will show that and then come back. In that, for our workshop, we really want to give you an introduction to the capability. So much more detailed than what we just did in this webinar here. We also want to work with you on identifying different use cases that are relevant for you, and define like a high-level roadmap. How can you start your BDC journey? So those are the topics that we want to identify with you. And then going one slide back, the other topics that are kind of like the natural follow-ups regarding SAP Business Data Cloud. So we, on the one hand side, we have an SAP BDC bootcamp where we would enable you to work with BDC and the different components, so that you can use that in the future yourself and kind of work on these components. We of course have an AI starter. That would be for all use cases that include any kind of custom AI machine learning model. So we would try to identify these use cases and then set them up as a POC so that they are running and you can see how they integrate with one another. We have the same then as an BDC starter, which would be the same, like setting up the BDC instance in your tenant. Providing everything there, setting up the governance for that, and also starting with the first small use case or like intelligent applications that you want to use, like guiding you how you can use that and make that work for you. But that would be the one then without like an AI component, then that's the difference there. Of course, there's also the topic of BW modernization around SAP Business Data Cloud. We ourselves are not the super expert in all these BI topics, but from a strategic point of view, we definitely have knowledge there, and then like the direct implementation would go via partners of ours. So just to show that like you get the holistic view of everything regarding SAP BDC from our side, which is then also covered in the last one in the bottom right corner. That would be like a holistic SAP BDC strategy consulting regarding your data strategy, regarding your AI strategy. How does that work with Business Data Cloud? And also develop a roadmap. How can you start with SAP Business Data Cloud? What kind of use cases should you first identify? What are the steps to like get that product set up across your organization and get the full value out of it? All right. Yeah, that would be everything from our side. So we would open it for Q&A. You can just write any answers that you any questions that you have to the chat, and then we will provide you with the answers. Okay, I see a first question from Uli Rose. The BDC can get data from SAP and non-SAP system. Is it correct assumption it's not capable to replicate data from one system into another, i.e. replicate from EC to SAP HCM payroll? Yes, this is correct as an assumption. Basically, the BDC can replicate from the different SAP source systems into the BDC data lake layer, but then you can't write like from one to the other back. But what is done in this BDC layer is that the data coming from both these systems is harmonized in the sense that if you would have kind of the same master data between EC and also HCM payroll, but they are maybe like conflicting or like not totally aligned, then you would align those in the layer of BDC. Any additional questions?
If not, you can also ask Jonathan or Patrick via mail. I think the next slide, or is it with your email?
No.
Okay.
No,
but then you can ask me, and I will hand over to Jonathan and Patrick when I'm sending you the slides and the recording. So no rush here.
Exactly. Yeah, so with that, thank you again from our side to listening to this webinar. Sorry that we took a bit more of the planned time, but I hope that it was interesting regardless, and that the additional time was helpful and worth your wait.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a nice day.
Bye.